Oh, I'm tired. So, well, I got out of bed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, yeah. I uploaded a video during my sleep. Yeah, I uploaded a video while I was sleeping. So I recorded that video in the early hours of the morning, and I went to bed about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to upload that video. I thought it was a really bad video. Like, I thought, you know, I went through it. I didn't really know. I was thinking, well, I can do some, I can talk about what's on my mind. I can talk about various things, explain my story a little bit. I just wanted to talk, really. I did some card readings, and I came out of that reading so confused. Like, I was like, I'm not uploading that. And I had a massive whinge about it. I was sitting here talking to the spirits around me, and I was having a massive whinge about it. And then Archangel Michael, he said to me, just upload it. I was like, okay, fine then. I will. And I titled it Dumbest Video Ever. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? It's actually a really weird video title. I mean, best is part of the word dumbest. Do you know what I'm saying? You wonder why the world is so dumb. Because they think dumb is best. Strange though, isn't it? Anyways. I'm not sure what I'm calling this video. I think I might call it Smoking Hot. That's the video title I'm thinking of. For some reason. I mean, obviously, people say things like, they might look at someone and think, oh wow, they're smoking hot. He's hot, she's hot, he or she is hot. Or, maybe maybe someone's got a frying pan or something like that. And, they've got the oil, it's smoking hot. Whatever, right? Yeah, sorry. I try to pause the video when I cough. I know it's annoying. It's because I just got out of bed, basically. I think I might have a bit of whiskey, just to stop me coughing. Yeah. Anyways. Smoking hot. Well, I guess some people think smoking is hot. Like smoking cigarettes or smoking weed. I suppose it is for a while. Maybe you could say it is for a while, but I guess after about 20 years of smoking, or you know what I mean, it's sort of, it loses its appeal. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Anyways, I suppose people have various opinions about cigarettes and cigarette smoke. When after my mum died, in 2021, and when I first started learning about tarot and magic, I was burning multiple incense. I used to have 5 candles a day, just burn all day long. I used to get those massive spaz candles, or they're like spelled SPAAS, I think. I used to buy them on Amazon. They're like 15 quid they're like about 10 or 15 quid a candle, and I'd have 5 candles burning at the same time. I just burn them all day long. I spent so much money on stuff to burn, and yeah, I think this room needs to be repainted. I think it's looking a bit yellow, but I changed the setting on my camera because I thought I was looking a bit green in my last video. So I thought I'd make it look a little bit... I'm not very good with cameras, I'll be quite honest. I'm usually quite good with technology, but I don't fiddle around with cameras very often. Well, yeah, I'm not really... I wouldn't call myself a camera pro or anything like that. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm having a little bit of whiskey. I know I only just got out of bed, but you know, I don't do this very often. I just thought, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's a bottle of Jura. So you have some of that. Yeah. Okay, so that's my breakfast. So this is the thing, right? You know, when Archangel Michael, he never, you know, well, he always wants me to stop smoking in bed. He's always trying to get, like, when I wake up and I want to roll a cigarette in the morning, or whenever I wake up. So it's like, don't do that. Stop smoking in bed. And that's the thing, right? You know, because, yeah, you know, I go up to the second floor, and you know, I need to stop doing that. I need to stop smoking in bed. It's bad magic. It's bad magic, basically. So, yeah. Anyway, what did I want to talk about? Who am I talking to? So the last video I made, I got very confused. So I'm wondering, like, who am I talking to? Who's listening? I mean, this video is for anyone who will listen. And, you know, and the thing is that if, you know, it's interesting how things go, because at the end of the day, you know, I might get the wrong message. I might interpret things incorrectly. I might get things a little bit wrong, but, you know, there's a method to the madness, basically. You know, there's you know, well, Spirit is trying to guide me through the magic that I need to do, and that's how it goes. Okay. Yeah. So, I know I have a really irritating cough. I need to quit smoking. If I quit smoking, it'll go away. But it ain't happening today, so... Anyways, what shall we talk about? Yeah. I'm good. Whoop-de-doo, huh? You're not? Oh, this is the thing, right? I mean, this is the thing, right? How many people have you ever heard say, "Holy smokes," or, you know, people, you know, in the Bible it talks about holy fire. You know, people say, "Oh, we better, you know, give up smoking." Well, I am up. Up is me. All right. So people would like to everyone wants to quit smoking, and it kind of lands on me a bit. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens. People want to give stuff up. Yeah. And where's up? Who does that go to? Well, you know, that's the thing. Like, no one is above me. And then people want to be like, oh, he's no one. He's a nobody. He doesn't exist. Yeah, it gets really annoying. Really, really annoying. Yeah. Yup. Sure it does. Well, Christy mentioned in her video something about, like not making enough not explaining enough, not giving enough details or anything like that. Look, if you want to watch 5 hours of my video every single day, it's here if you want to watch it. I mean, just, you could always, what I do with most videos, I will run it at double time. So I'll run it at 2 times speed just to get through it. So, people can do that with my videos, to get through them if you want to. I usually talk quite slowly, so yeah, feel free to do that. So, yeah. Holy smokes. Smoking hot. Well, there's a lot of hot people in this world, Sexy men, sexy women. They're hot. Yeah, but I'm good and I'm the one who's smoking. Smoking hot. Yeah. It's a strange type of magic. Let's put it that way. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Funny thing earlier, right? I was looking at my YouTube homepage. This was earlier, before I recorded the video, and I farted, and then I refreshed the page on my YouTube homepage, and it came up with Wind in the Willows, the Wind in the Willows movie. Yeah. Well, wind is, it's W-I-N-D. Windy. Do you understand? It's a magic word, right? So, why am I explaining this? I don't know. But, yeah. I used to watch that when I was a little boy. Wind in the Willows. The one with the models. Yeah. Toad was always quite funny, I thought. Yeah. Yep. Anyway. So, I think I might do some cards. Yeah, let me do some cards. Oh, got the devil card here. The devil. Okay, dokie. It's an interesting thing about the word devil. If you look at it backwards, well, I mean, first of all, it's the D, evil. If you've been following what I've been posting on Facebook, if you watch my other videos, well, D is the 4th letter of the alphabet. The number 4 is what connects with there are 4 elements. There are 4 pages, 4 knights, 4 queens, 4 kings. The emperor is number 4. So, the devil, it's the D, evil. And also, if you spell devil backwards, it's lived. And Satan, well, obviously, I am sat on my butt. Right? My ex-girlfriend, her name was Ania. I guess you could say I sat on her, in a sense. Yeah. A lot of people, they like to think, oh, well, Satan's the bad guy. God can't, God made Satan, and Satan does his bad things. And, God doesn't do anything bad. That's Satan. When something bad happens, that was Satan. People have different ideas about it, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm the source. I'm the power. I'm the source. I'm, in a sense, I am Satan. I am the devil. I mean, that word, it comes from, like, devil. I guess you could say it's Diablo. But, yeah, there's various words. But it means accuser. Accuser. And the thing is, the world loves to accuse me of all kinds of stuff. Again and again and again and again and again. You know that people celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on Christmas Day, which is Capricorn, right? It's the Capricorn. If you were born on the 25th of December, you'd be a Capricorn. And people think that the tarot deck is not evil, strangely enough. Ooh, look what we got here. The Empress. The Devil, the Empress. Ooh. And you thought I was the devil, huh? You thought I was the bad guy. Oh, death. Death. Ooh, these some nice, well, 3 major arcana all at once. Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, what more, this is the thing, like, tarot readers would look at the devil, the Empress, death. How would you interpret that? How would you, there's multiple ways you can interpret that. What's this saying? I'm God. Surely, if I'm not God, and I'm telling you I'm God, if I'm a liar, I guess you say the devil's a liar. Well, explain these cards then. It was the devil, the Empress, death. Am I the Empress? You saying I'm not a man? What are we talking about? What are these cards trying to say? Like, the thing about tarot readers is that, people buy tarot decks. Excuse me. Say people buy tarot decks, they shuffle them, and they don't know how to read the cards. They don't know how to interpret the cards. Because, if they knew how to really read the cards, they would realize that the cards are telling them to stop. The cards are telling them, you shouldn't be doing that. Put it away. But people look right past it. Why people, they like making, there are all these YouTube channels, people who want to do tarot readings for other people. How many tarot readers have you heard? For instance, there's that channel, Baba Jolie. She never shows her face in her videos. Have you ever seen her face? Why is it that tarot readers will do a tarot reading, you can't see their face? Why? That's magic. They're hiding their identity. It's witchcraft. If you're going to do a tarot reading, at least show your face. Right? Anyways. Even she said she can't even do her own tarot readings. She can't even interpret her own cards. I mean, what kind of idiot buys a tarot deck, does a tarot reading for themselves, and then thinks, oh, it's a message for somebody else? Are you fucking stupid? Or the Ten of Swords comes out. That's betrayal. If the Ten of Swords comes out, what do you think that is? It's betrayal. I mean, okay, so, is it, so the sword has to do with logic and communication, okay? The Ten of Swords it's like the ultimate truth, and the it's saying that the truth is betrayal. Because divination is a sin. Doing this type of divination, it's a sin. Right? You're not supposed to be doing it. So why does the Ten of Swords, why is the ultimate truth card depicting betrayal, backstabbing? Because that's what it is. It's betrayal. That's what it is. Can you not interpret that? Is it that hard to interpret? Excuse me. So I try not to be so... Yeah. I'll try to be like a gentleman for this video. I'm trying my best. Anyways. The Devil, the Empress, Death. This is the interesting thing about the Death card, right? Because, yeah, it could mean that you're literally going to die. But it also means that, the person that you are, or you once were, you change, you transform. The old you dies and the new you is born. You're born again. Yeah? Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. It's my sinuses. They're really annoying. I used to do, when I was younger, I don't know if you've ever heard of those things. They, why am I talking about? I don't know. Have you ever heard of a neti pot before? Back when I used to take, when I was younger, when I used to do Katie. I explained what that is in my previous video, but when I used to do Katie, I used to wash my nose out with Himalayan salt water. Yeah. I used to put Himalayan salt in a neti pot. Yeah, I stopped doing it because it's not very fun. Some people do it a lot, but I couldn't. Why the hell am I talking about this? Anyways, I got a lot of work to do. I gotta, I've sat in this chair so long, I've got swollen feet. For the last 6 months, I've had swollen feet, and when I go to bed, they might shrink down, and then I come back downstairs and they start swelling up again because, and I've got ingrown, why the fuck am I talking about this? I've got sore toes, basically. I've got ingrown toenails. And I need to, with swollen feet, I've got big feet as it is. I've got size 13 feet. So it's like, it's a nightmare trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to juggle this and getting other stuff done. And it's like, okay, I've got to freaking do... It becomes such a hassle in my life. It really does. It fucking drives me mad. Anyways. Whatever. Death. The Devil, the Empress, Death. Yeah. get some more cards then, okay? But this is the thing about the death card, right? You know, I'm God. I'm associated with this card because my sun sign is Scorpio. But the thing is that, you know, I can tell people, I say, look, you need to change. I'm God. You got two options. Transform, become a better person, or there's only one option left, and that is death. You know what I mean? It's kind of simple. You know, that's the simple way of putting it. You know, death might mean that, you know, you just have to live a really horrible life. You know, you transforming is the best thing you can do. And, you know, when I say transform is understand and accept that I'm God. Accept that Jesus is the way, right? You know, that Jesus, you know, you were supposed to follow Jesus. But here I am again, you know, I'm God. I'm the second coming of Jesus. Things are slightly different this time, obviously. You seen that? There's that David Bowie tarot deck. I've got it somewhere. And the Fool card, he's called the Fool card character is actually called the Sacred Clown. And the idea of the Sacred Clown comes from like Native Americans, and you know, they used to have these sort of like shaman sacred clowns, and you know, they used to believe that these sacred clowns had secret knowledge and stuff like that. Basically, that's where the idea comes from. But yeah, interesting, huh? I think a lot of people get upset at the white man. They're like, oh, he's a colonizer, bloody bloody blah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the Israelites were told, like, you will have a certain type of future. There was, you know, it was prophesied that, you know, there would be, you know, great seafarers and a blessing to the world. Have white people not been a blessing to the world? A lot of people don't, you know, a lot of people think, oh, but the Jews were brown people. No, they weren't. They're white. I mean, obviously, well, you know, white people, there were a lot of white people in that part of the world. Back then, you know, the thing is, people migrate, yeah? You know, migrants, yeah? My name's Grant. Migrants, yeah? People move around, people mix, yeah? People have done that, and people still do it. I mean, look at England. I mean, look at England now compared to 50 years ago, you know? Or 20 years ago. Totally changed. You know, what is an Englishman? What does an Englishman look like? What does an English woman look like? What colour are they? White? Black? Brown? People would argue all kinds of things, wouldn't they? Anyways, I wasn't planning to go in that direction out of thought, but that's where I went. You'll notice that in the scriptures and in the, you know, the Bible, it doesn't really talk about skin color very much. You know, it's not very obvious, but if you actually look very carefully, there are verses that explain people who are white. Now, why would it do that? I mean, obviously, it also explains that some people are, you know, they have gold, they have like sort of, you know, they're sort of bronze skinned. Well, that's because it's all climate. You know, you go live in Israel and you go stand out in the sun all day. Well, and if you're a white person, what color are you gonna turn? Yeah, you're gonna get sunburn. You're gonna get a dark tan. Yeah, well, duh. Anyways, people will argue about that a lot, and yeah. I mean, all you have to do is look at, you know, who were the people who were blessed the most? Yeah, why was that? Who were the people who had the Bible? Who are the people who, you know, kept the words of God? It was white people who spread the word. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, if you go look at the most ancient Egyptian findings, the oldest Egyptian findings, you'll find that they were white people, and they mixed with other people, black people, later on. So yeah, they were all, you know, it was mainly white people, but you know, there were, you know, people who moved about. Different groups of people were talked about in the Bible. The thing is that, wait, hang on. See, the thing is about the color of the skin is that it actually, in terms of magic, it makes different. It has a magic, you know, because that's the thing. The word I am light-skinned, I am fair-skinned. Those are words. They have a certain meaning, don't they? So, you know, why is there, you know, the color of your skin is magic, is what I'm saying, right? It's magic. I'll let you figure that one out for yourself, okay? You can think about that one. At the end of the day, people have the opportunity to overcome, right? People were given the opportunity to find, you know, to accept the truth and to become better people. So, you know, to have a relationship with me, God, whether they were white or black. Anyways, let me carry on with this reading. So we had the devil, the empress, and death. Okay, so what's next then? Okay, so we've got the Eight of Pentacles. What is the Eight of Pentacles? Well, he's chiseling away a pentacle. So, you know, to me that is, you know, it's work and it's doing magic. You know, it's doing witchcraft, magic, that type of thing. Trying to manifest stuff, right? You know, it's called manifestation. Well, I'm the man. That's the thing, right? Oh, look, the magician card. So, you know, where does the word magic come from? Yeah, sorry. Where does the word magic come from? Well, if you know the story of the birth of Jesus, you know, Jesus was born in a Jesus was born in a manger. You know, and then there were the you know, they called them the three wise kings, or the three magi. You know, that's spelled M-A-G-I. And there were three of them. So the third letter of the alphabet is the letter C. So ma, you know, which is a short way of saying mother or mum. So ma, guy, you know what guy means, don't you? C, magic. Okay? It's all about my power. I was Jesus Christ. I was born in that manger. The three magi visited me to give gifts of frankincense, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, and then we got the Two of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. So, you know, Six of Pentacles is, you know, like if you share, you know, I share stuff on YouTube or Facebook. Six of Pentacles. You know, this is, so, you know, after the Death card, there was the Eight of Pentacles, the Magician, Two of Wands, Six of Pentacles. So, you know, this is, you know, this is talking about magic. Okay? You know, people are doing sorcery, and, you know, whoever this is talking about, it's saying you're doing sorcery. You know, you're posting stuff to YouTube, you're posting stuff to Facebook or wherever you're posting stuff, X, Twitter, TikTok. You know, that's all sorcery. I mean, every time you record a video and you upload it somewhere, you've created a piece of artwork. You know, that includes, you know, that's your words, that's your artwork, that's your card readings and all that stuff, and your interpretations of those cards, which are probably incorrect. And then, you know, you have, you know, maybe you're correct about some things, but then you get, you know, you might get, you know, a certain percentage of the story correct, and then you get another, you know, you mix truth with fiction, and then you sell it. You know, like if that's, you know, that's you know, that's at the end of the day, you have to accept that's a type of sorcery. Okay, that's what it is. That's why you really gotta be careful. That's why you need to put God first. You know, God is. You have to understand that God is first, and that, you know, you should try to do things with that perspective in mind. You know what I'm saying? Because then everything, you know, things should fall into place. You know, like you know, you want to be on the right path. You don't want to be going down the wrong path. So if you actually, in your head, you're like, okay, God's first, and what would God want me to do? Kind of thing. You know, that's basically how you find, you know, and because of, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You know, you know, if you've ever heard of, you know, God ordering your footsteps, right? You know, people talk about, you know, God ordering someone's footsteps. You know, you're on that path, you want to be on that path. It happens because, I guess you could call it magic, or you know, it's your intention. You have to set your intention. What is it you want to do? Do you want to put God first or not? So if you put God first and that's your intention, then, you know, things should start to fall into place. Do you understand? So then we got the Justice card, and the Lovers card. Yeah, the Lovers. So, it's an interesting card, the Justice card. I mean, look at it. First of all, it's a woman. Okay? They call her Lady Justice. Okay? Why is it a woman? Why does she get to be in charge? Well, you know, this is the thing. I'm God, and I'm just, you know, like, you know, I could say, oh, I just got up in the morning, you know, I got out of bed, oh, I just got out of bed. You know, people say stuff like that, but it doesn't mean they're, you know, it doesn't mean they're a just, righteous person, because just can mean being righteous, right? Right? I mean, look at the card. You know, she's holding the scales of justice in her left hand, and the sword is in the right hand. So, you know, I mean, this is the thing, you know, people want to leave me, you know, they left. You know, I've got a left eye and I've got a right eye. You know, it's really, it's annoying magic, you know, because people, they abandon me, you know, they want to run away. They left me. Do you understand how that works? It's the same word, you know, this is my left hand. You know, people talk about the left hand path and the right hand path. You know, why do you think Jesus said, you know, sit down at the right hand? You know, sit down at, you know, God says, sit down at my right hand. But what does right mean? You know, this is my right hand. You know, I'm right-handed, so if I want to write a book, I would write it with my right hand. And I'm God, I'm the truth, I'm correct, I'm right. You know, and then left is the other side. Like, you know, people who run away and, you know, stuff like that. Okay. So, what was this? So Six of Pentacles, Justice, the Lovers. So this is the thing, right? Because what the world does, it doesn't want to give, you know, the world doesn't want to give me justice. What is it? It does. It gives me ice. In other words, what it is, it's really cold towards me. It gives me the cold shoulder. It gives me, you know, it just has no, yeah, it just, you know what it means to treat someone in a very cold way. You know what it is to be an ice queen, right? Someone, you know, people would say, oh, she's an ice queen. She's a bitch. Not like a dog, but, well, she might be kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, depends what we're talking about. But obviously people like to confuse everything. But ice queen, you know, a woman who's an ice queen, you know, she's got a heart of ice. She doesn't care about your feelings. She'll trample on your feelings, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the kind of just, you know, that's the kind of just, that's what the world wants to give me, just ice. And then there's the Lovers card. Okay, so let me get some more cards. I mean, obviously, I demand real justice, not the cold shoulder. I expect people to be warm towards me. Yeah, I'm not saying start a war with me. Yeah, I'm saying love me. Yeah, do you see how crazy that all sounds, right? You know, I want you to be warm towards me, but you know, like I don't want a war. You understand? Anyways, there's the Two of Pentacles. So it says Justice, the Lovers, Two of Pentacles. So, you know, that's juggling. That's juggling. Let's put it this way. There is no one woman who deserves me. There is no woman. I don't know any woman who has earned the right to keep me for herself. You understand? You know, it's justice that I have multiple women. It's part of my justice. And it also, you know, that's the thing, right? If I have multiple wives and one wife wants to argue with me, then, you know, the other wives, they'll tell her to shut up. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of works like that. And obviously, I mean, if you look back through the Old Testament, you know, if you look at, you know, the stories about, yeah, lots of guys who had multiple wives, or they had, you know, they had a wife and concubines, right? They had, yeah. I always forget, was it multiple, you know, I think it was only like, it would be one wife and then the concubines, or, yeah, more, yeah. Concubines, you know, like, well, they're kind of like a you know, they're sort of like wives, but they're not the wife. Do you know what I mean? Like, the wife gets the, you know, the important spot. Anyways, I'm God. At the end of the day, you know, the way to look at it, you know, it's multiple. I deserve multiple women. Okay. It's my justice. It's just how it's supposed to go. Okay. You know, I'm not the kind of guy. You know, I'm not usually the kind of guy who'd be like, well, do you know what I mean? I'm not the kind of guy who tries to make people jealous and drive them crazy with jealousy or anything like that. That's not generally how I do things. But some women like that. Some women find that, that's the thing. Like, anytime I've ever had a girlfriend in my life, more women want me. I usually get approached by women the most when I've had girlfriends. When I was in a relationship. Because they look at a guy and they think, oh, wow, he's in demand. There must be something good about him. And, and when they see a guy who doesn't have a girlfriend, they think, oh, well, nobody wants him. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's weird how that works. Okay, and we've got the Chariot and the Ten of Swords. And the Moon. And the Ten of Wands. Whoa! And we got the Three of Pentacles. Sorry, I just made it. Yeah, okay. Let me grab a few more cards. And then we got the Two of Swords. So so we got back. So the Justice, the Lovers, Two of Pentacles, the Chariot. So the Two of Pentacles is juggling. Someone's having sex with people. Two of Pentacles. Well, it's juggling. It's having sex with different people, fornicating, sleeping around, sleeping with different people. There's the Chariot. The Chariot is basically the bed. And then there's there's the Ten of Swords. That's betrayal. And then there's the Moon. The Moon is reflecting the light of the sun. So, people do moon magic, trying to reflect my light, in order to absorb my power. And then there's the Ten of Wands, which is, it's extreme, it's exhaustion. And obviously combine that with the Moon card, well, that can also mean sodomy. There's the Three of Pentacles card, which is people working together. So if you have a YouTube channel, for instance, and you have lots of people watching you, you know what I mean, it's kind of like you've got your own little church thing going on. Do you know what I mean? And then there's the Two of Swords, which is that's blocking. It's called, that's blocking. This is obstruction. This is it's getting in the way of God. This, when this comes out, this is people getting in the way of me. It's a blockage of some kind. That's what it is. This is a woman, this is a person that doesn't want to know the truth. She got her arms in an X shape. X means, that's the thing, right? The world is the X of God. Basically, because that's the thing, the world doesn't love God, so they're not in a relationship with God anymore. They're X. They don't want to see the truth, and they want to talk rubbish all day long. They want to they want, that's the thing, right? Because there are a lot of people who don't love God, but they still want God's destiny. They still want God's power. They just want to try to obtain that through evil means. Sorcery, magic, word magic, impersonation, that type of thing. Trying to take God's glory from him. Yeah? So I'll tell you what. I'll grab a couple more cards, just to. Oh, well, I need a drink. Okay, I've got two cards here. We've got the Five of Cups, sadness, and the Seven of Swords. So this, this is betrayal. This is deception, lies, stealing. Do you understand? It's exactly what I was just telling you about. Yeah? My misery is caused by people who won't try to stop, people who don't want to stop stealing from me. I've caught all these people red-handed. Do you know what I mean? It's an interesting expression, red-handed, but reading any books lately? But you know what I mean? Like, people, I see clearly that people are, I look at the world and I see people who are naked. I see what they do. I see how they, I hear the words that come off their forked tongues, if you know what I'm saying. Do you know what I'm saying? I know what people are doing. They're trying to steal from me. And obviously, I'm not happy about that. I think some people, they claim, that Scorpio is associated with the Five of Cups, Six of Cups, and Seven of Cups. Obviously, that is really, I really don't like that, how they do that. It's all about trying to steal from me. That's all it is. That's what it is. It's attempting to take what belongs to me and divide it to people who aren't worthy of it. Based on when their birthday was. I mean, this is all trying about, think about it. They create this complex system of magic. So, they can try to control when I'm come back. Think about it. Like, they can think, okay, so we could try to trap God, and we can try to find out when he's going to be born again. So, we can try and force him into a certain month or, a certain zodiac sign, and, attack him with all this magic and try to steal his destiny. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's all about trying to control and steal. That's what it's really about. I mean, you think about how many tarot readings are, people want to do love readings or money readings. Like, what, for instance, there's the channel Tyler Tarot. And he, he wants to do love readings and money what's your money going to be like? What's your career going to be like? He's and obviously he has a little picture on his videos that says, parental guidance, like warning. It's like warning parental, parental advisory or whatever it is, right? What you find on when there's a lot of swearing. And obviously, well, whose parent is he? Does he have any kids? Is he father? Is he God? Well, I'm father, I'm God. I'm the one who's giving you parental. I'm the one who's trying to guide you. This is parental guidance. I'm trying to tell you who I am. Yeah. Yep. I'll do another reading. Give me a minute. Okay, I think I'm ready. I've got another reading, so I'm gonna do a What's the News tarot reading. Well, it's Fire Witch Tarot. It's not really a tarot deck, is it? I mean, whatever. It's an oracle deck. Okay, so yeah, I just want to see what type of messages come out. When I wake up, when I get up in the morning, I usually smoke like 3-4 cigarettes before I even feel like I'm awake. It's because I've been asleep for hours and I haven't had any nicotine, so I sort of have to I feel the need to top up myself. Yeah, I gotta get the nicotine pumped in my brain. But the thing is, smoking, because, obviously I've mentioned, smoke and mirrors, and how people get things like fog brain, people get clouded thinking and all that kind of stuff. All that is magic. It's all connected to me, and obviously, there's the internet, that is called, people call the internet the cloud, basically. So, my smoking isn't just me being an idiot. It's me. I'm always in a magic battle, so it's all part of it. And anyways, obviously I'm gonna have to try to do things a different way. I'm gonna have to try to do things differently in the future. So I guess, I can still burn stuff, I suppose. I get some Palo Santo or sage or incense or shit, I don't know. I'll find something to burn that doesn't involve inhaling it, I suppose. Anyway, any messages that would like to come out, please? Ooh. Watch your back. Watch your back. So she's she looks like a vampire. She's got blood coming from her mouth. Yeah, I don't know what that, maybe that means something to you. But yeah, watch your back. The thing is that those who acknowledge that I am God will need to watch their back. I mean, you need to understand that the world there are a lot of lying, evil spirits, demons that will, they will not like you. They will, this is the thing, when your eyes open, when you see the truth, when that happens, which is what I'm hoping is happening to you, you will notice that, I guess what people call evil eye, yeah, you will begin to feel what people will call evil eye. That's the thing, is it's the world that's evil is looking at you and is trying to has now identified you as their enemy. So the world will treat you like you're the enemy because you're a good person. You're doing good things, right? You've decided to do what's right, what's correct. They're not gonna like you. So be aware of that. best thing to do is just minimize your contact with people who are that way. Just try to keep things simple, and don't mix with the wrong crowd. Yeah. Whoa. Beef. Yeah. Watch out for people who want to argue with you. I mean, think about beef. I mean, beef can mean, it's a slang term for arguing, obviously. I mean, that's what this card's about, right? Beef. I always thought it was a British slang term, but I mean, these cards are made by an American, I think. But anyway, you got beef, you got pork, like pork sausages and bacon. And then there's chicken. Yeah, maybe a chicken or whatever. I mean, that's the thing, right? Chick, chick can mean girl, woman. And Ken, well, Barbie and Ken, right? You know what barbecue chicken is, right? Yeah, chicken wings. Anyways, watch your back. Beef. That's the thing, right? Because I've known times where I've eaten a lot of beef, like burgers and stuff like that, and it affects people, like how people treat me. So yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like, what I eat is magic. What I choose to eat is magic. It's a bizarre thing. I mean, because that's the thing, right? Because people who are of the world, they I mean, like, they may as well just have soil brains. They're basically shit for brains. Yeah, you know what shit for brains means, right? If someone's an idiot, they're shit. They're called shit for brains. Right? It's all connected magic. Anyways, all-seeing eye. All-seeing eye. I see everything, bitch. Okay. Katy Perry. Katy Perry. I couldn't believe when I looked at, there's that Super Bowl, performance, the halftime performance by Katy Perry, where she was on the back of like a big giant lion. I mean, why do you think they do stuff like that? Why do you, when you see like the Olympics and they do all these really weird, like they have all these weird shows. If you look at, if you looked at, they had the Olympics in France, and they had, the Last Supper table. They had the table depicting the Last Supper, and they had like a woman who's DJing, and you got, they got these like horses, people riding horses, like like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and all sorts of stuff like that. Why do they do that? Why are they doing it? It's magic. It's what it is. It's witchcraft. And people just go like this. People go, yeah, they love it. Or they go, oh, that's strange. Oh, isn't this strange and wonderful? It's witchcraft. It's fighting me. That's what it is. It's the world in a battle with me. I am the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's me. It's literally me. I mean, think about it, okay? I'm associated with the death card. The 4th horseman of the apocalypse is called death. Right? That's 4. That's 4. Yeah, there's 4 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's. I mean, the idea is, the first seal. Okay, so there's the the horse. So he's the first horseman. He rides a white horse, and he gets a crown, and he goes forth. He goes on he goes to conquer, right? I mean, obviously there are different versions of the Bible. There's different translations. He might go forth, or he might or go out to conquer, or whatever it says, right? There are different translations, different words used, and obviously he goes off to conquer. And then the next one is there's the red horse, and he's given a large sword. And then the next one is the black horse with the scales, which is associated with justice. Yeah. And then there's the fourth horseman, who's Death, who rides the pale green horse, and Hades follows behind him. And they're all they're given a power over a fourth of the earth. So that's the thing, right? I'm God. I'm all four horsemen. I'm given power over the entire planet, right? The planet is mine. It belongs to me, right? It's just that it's a magic story, and it's explained in such a way. It's magic. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's a magic story. Okay. Okay, so we've got hiding pain behind the shades. Hiding pain behind the shades. Sunglasses. Yeah. Sunglasses. Yeah. Hiding pain behind the shades. I don't know what that's talking about, but the fact is, obviously I was talking about, evil eye, and people, will want to argue. But, if you're doing the right thing, if you love God, if you want to do the right thing, if you see the truth, the world doesn't want you to see the truth. The world's going to hate you. The world's going to try to stop you from doing what you're supposed to do. But those people, that's what they're like. You know what I mean? They're just, they're a bunch of, they're people that want to steal my destiny, and they're going to be judged for what they're doing, right? They're going to be dealt with. They're hiding their pain, basically. They're hiding. They talk lies, and they kid themselves. Yeah, they kid themselves. Isn't that an interesting word? I mean, like an interesting expression. People will say things like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Yeah, you see how that's problematic? The thing is, and also, like a young goat is called a kid, right? But now, and the thing is that people will say, "Oh yeah, he's the goat, the greatest of all time," sort of thing, right? So what am I then? I'm God. Am I not the greatest of all time? I guess you say I'm the ram, I'm the goat, I'm both, I'm all of it. You know what I mean? Like, people think they can try to defeat me through separating things out, but ultimately I claim it all for myself, right? I can say, no, it's all of me. I'm the word. Goat is a word, ram is a word, is it not? They're both the word. They're both words, right? Satan's a word, the devil's a word, God is a word. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, I take what I want. People don't tell me what I can have. I say, fuck you. I take what I want, right? You can't take from me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. People want to try to dictate what I can have and what I can't have. They try. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people hurt me. A lot of people have hurt me. It's a lot to stomach. It really is. Like, the amount of betrayal I've had to deal with is crazy. Like, it's. But that, that's what it is to be God. Like, people want to have the good bits. They want to have the money, the manifestation power, the fame, the status. They want all that, and beauty and talents and all that kind of stuff. But they don't want the bad stuff. They want to pick and choose what they want. And it's really annoying to look at the world behave that way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the world was given a chance through Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ died on the cross, in order to allow people, to give people an opportunity to build a relationship with God. I mean, think about it. I'm God. I come down to earth. I die on a cross. The Son of God. I mean, the way that was done, it's all about. Well, there's a lot of ways of explaining it, but you have to try to understand it from a perspective. Try to understand it from. It's magic the way it was done. Okay, it was sort of a. I was giving people an example to follow, right? I had to do things in a certain way, and that was the path people were told to follow. How to be a son of God. Where was I going with this? Yeah. Anyway, I need some more nicotine here. Give me a sec. So the thing is, there are a lot of people, they've hurt me, they're betraying me. And, they're in denial. It's an interesting word, denial, isn't it? Denial. Well, the River Nile is associated with Egypt. Yeah. Okay, let me get some more cards. Simping, sprung on that ass. Going viral. Unexpected love. Seeing some bullshit. And then we got Homie in Love. Whoa. Okay, got some more. Yeah, got perfect match. Using children manipulation. So this is, it's hocus pocus. Y'all figured it out. And money got jacked. So, there's well, yeah. So hopefully you can figure that out. You can figure that out, right? What's my interpretation of it? Okay, so yeah, you need to watch out for evil eye. People who hate me hate. That's the thing, right? If you know the truth about me, people aren't gonna like you. People are, you have to be careful with people because, they're still, think of it like, they are, they will try to interfere, okay? They will try to interfere and cause arguments and, careful who you trust. Yeah. Going viral, unexpected love, seeing some bullshit, homie in love, perfect match, using children, manipulation, hocus pocus, y'all figured it out, money got jacked. Yeah. I know what that's talking about. I'm pretty sure I know what that's talking about. I made the video, I sent the money, so yeah. Okay, I'll do another reading of the Truth Rising cards. Just give me a second. So I got this other deck. What's the T? Fire Witch Tarot. So the letter T is the 20th letter of the alphabet, and obviously the 20th letter, 20th card of the major arcana is the Judgment card. And so, there's there's that angel that's in the clouds blowing the trumpet, and then there's these people who they rise from their graves, don't they? Well, that's the thing. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, and under the Judgment card, number 19 is the Sun card. So the Judgment card, well, that's the thing, right? T is associated with the crucifix, isn't it? Who was it who died on the cross and then rose again 3 days later? Do you know what I'm saying? And then if you look at the World card, what is that? I mean, do you know what I mean? It depicts a woman in a wreath thing. It's a circular thing. It's a butt magic thing. Well, what it is it's basically my butt. That's what it is. I mean, if you read the book of Revelation, read about, read chapter 4 and chapter 5. And it talks about, chapter 4, it talks about the throne of God. And, there's the 4 living creatures around the throne. And, a rainbow encircled the throne of God. So basically, I basically have a rainbow butt. You know, a rainbow is split light. Do you understand? It's all magic, right? Yeah. So, I've talked about that in previous videos, ages ago. But yeah, I find I repeat myself a lot. I don't like that word, repeat. Because the thing is, whenever you see the word, whenever you hear re or lee, you know, lee is, well, you know, Aaliyah, you know, well, you know, that's the thing, because, you know, witches, these witches, they want to, you know, or Mary, you know, Mary, or Ma-Ri, you know, that's the thing. So, you know, Mary's a witch, okay? Yeah, it's annoying stuff. I'll let you figure that out, okay? So, whoa. Oh, yeah, talking shit. Okay, well, I mean, what's peat? You know what I mean? Like, peat is basically, it's like soil, isn't it? You know, for instance, you know, whiskey, you might get a peated whiskey. You know, it's basically, it's a type of, it's kind of like soil, but it's flammable. It's like, it's used as a fuel source, right? But soil is also connected with the word shit, right? Talking shit. I mean, the ghost of Mary, her butt is on my face. Let's put it that way. It's the truth. That's where she sits. She sits on my face. You can't see her because she's a ghost. Anyways, it says here, facts, no facts, never has the facts, make shit up, lies. So I was talking about Mary, wasn't I? She's trying to deceive people. Mary is basically, she's soil. That's basically what she is. She's soil. She's a soil-based ghost. Yeah, that's how I kind of think of her, right? She's a ghost of the world. You know, that's why, I mean, I saw a news story, there was, in Brazil, they've just opened this, they've just put up this massive statue of Mary. You know, it's like a 50 or 60 foot tall statue of Mary. You know, and they're seeing all these people worshipping it. It's like, well, do you know what I mean? How obvious does it have to be? How obvious does it have to be? You know, and those types. There's so many of them around the world. I saw one video. I can't remember which country. I think it might be. It's the Philippines. I think it was a big statue. I don't know if it's. I think it was of Mary. Was it of Mary? Yeah, there was like a big statue of Mary, but it's actually like, it's kind of like a. It's a residence. People live inside it. I think. People can actually go. People can actually, they can go inside the statue, then go up to the top of it, and there's like, yeah, it's in the Philippines. I mean, think about it. You know, how many people, they make statues depicting what they call Jesus. You know, he has long hair, he's got a beard. Well, do I have long hair? Do I have a beard? No. You know, people were told, don't be making idols. So, and what do? They make idols. Rejected. So that's the thing, right? Mary is rejected, right? I mean, that's the thing. Because, you know, that's the thing, right? Because she was the mother of Jesus, she carried Jesus in her womb, gave birth to Jesus. That put her in a very powerful position, right? I mean, it put her in a position that she took, and she was in a position and she took advantage of it, right? She took advantage of the situation and people worshipped her. So yeah, rejected. I mean, think about it. Leah Dana Houghton, she was in a movie called Romeo Must Die. Who's Romeo? Yeah. She was in a film Queen of the Damned as the vampire Akasha. Yeah. Wasting time. Stuck, no changes, limited. So that's the thing, you know. Mary, she doesn't want to change. She's obsessed with my power, though. Right. Moving on. Thank you. Next. Well, this is the thing, right? Her ghost is literally stuck on me. Like, if I walk, her ghost is just stuck. It's literally stuck on the front of my body. Doesn't matter where I go. I could run down the street. Still stuck on me. It's the same with Archangel Michael. He's stuck on my back. You know what I mean? I've got ghosts that are. I've got ghosts and spirits that are stuck on me. You know, they just hold on to me wherever I go. I could be driving down the motorway at 140 miles an hour and they'd still be stuck on me. So, yeah, when it first happened to me, when I first started, when I first got attacked by spirits, I tried running away from them. I went outside. I was like, how do I get away from them? I tried walking away from them. I tried running away from them. I thought, if I get in a car and drive, like, gonna get away from them? Nope. Don't work. Yeah, well, obviously things have changed. Obviously, I moved from the southeast of England. I moved from Brighton and I moved over here, and things have changed a bit. Things have improved for me. When I was back in Brighton, I got attacked by demons, and I think I don't know, I kind of got the impression that they stayed there when I left. It's like the southeast or Brighton area is sort of, it's where they stay. Yeah. So, you know, it's a geographical thing. Oh, got drama starter on the bottom of the deck. So that's, you know, Mary is a drama starter. It's the same with my mum who died, Fiona. She actually looks quite similar. I mean, that's what my mum looked like when she was young. I mean, that's kind of what she looked like. Reminds me of her. Okay, so should I carry on with that reading? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, grab some more cards. Mary is a happiness hater. Okay, I saw that card on the top. Yeah, when I lifted the deck. I mean, that's what she is. She doesn't want me to be happy. Okay, so I got, look, the jackpot card here. Jackpot. Winning money, got rich, inheritance, unexpected money, right? So moving on, thank you. That says moving on, right? So I'm the guy, you know, my mum's dead. I got inheritance money. And I'm making money from my investments. So, and this is the thing, right? The ghost of Mary is on me, right? Because she's literally, like I explained, you know, moving on. And I'm the jackpot guy, right? You know, I won the money. I got the money. then we got groupie. Yeah, groupie. I mean, that's what, Aaliyah Dana Houghton was, really. Do you know what I mean? She used to hang around, Jay-Z and Damon Dash. And, she used to hang around the Rockefeller crew. Do you know what I mean? That was Rockefeller Records. Jay-Z, Damon Dash. And about when she died, Damon Dash claimed that he had been in a relationship with her, but who was she sleeping with? What was she doing? I couldn't tell you exactly who she, but she got around, basically. She was a groupie, and there's that tune by Fatboy Slim. It's called Rockefeller Skank. Yeah, that's basically what Aaliyah was, right? The Rockefeller Skank. Photo proof, getting evidence. So the thing about Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, right? He's a Scorpio. That he got sent to prison, and because he was having all those sex parties and stuff like that. Well, that's a reflection. You see, that's the world is trying. That's what the world's trying to do to me. The world wants to keep me. It's trying to put that on me. They're trying to say that I'm him. That's a reflection of demons trying to keep me stuck. And obviously R. Kelly, he had a relationship with Aaliyah when she was young. It was rumored that he actually got married to her, and then they got an annulment or something like that. So yeah, I mean, she had that album, she had that song Age Ain't Nothing But a Number and stuff like that. And basically she was involved with evil stuff. I mean, yeah, she was young, but the fact was she was doing bad things and she was going in a bad direction, and she died in a plane crash. Her plane was overloaded. It was too heavy. And when I was that age, what was I listening to? Heavy metal music. That's what I used to listen to when I was that age. I listened to different types of music, but like drum and bass and breakbeat and rock music. I listen to all kinds of music. Anyway. I need another drink. Ooh, got some there. I'm looking at this energy drink. Red Bull. You see those two bulls, and there's like a sun disc between them. Well, what's a bi-bull? Bi? What does bi mean? Well, bi usually it means two, doesn't it? For instance, like if someone's bisexual, it means that they like men and women, right? It's two. It means two. And obviously, the Bible. Well, Bible is spelled Bible. I mean, obviously you spell bull Bull. But yeah, it's a strange thing, isn't it? How that book ended up becoming the Bible. It's called the Holy Bible. And obviously, if you look at the tarot deck, the Hierophant, which might be called the Pope or the High Priest, is associated with Taurus, which is the bull. You might be familiar with the Torah, which is the Old Testament, right? It's It's the first part of the Old Testament. The Torah, which is very similar to the word tarot. It's sort of, it's the letters rearranged, isn't it? It's it's sort of backwards. Instead of Torah, it's tarot. In fact, if you look at the Wheel of Fortune, it says tarot in one direction and it says Torah in the opposite direction. Or to Ra. And obviously Ra is the Egyptian sun deity. So yeah. And Ra is part of my first name, obviously. My name's Grant. So it all gets very complicated. You know what I mean? It's not simple explaining all these things. So what we got here? So we got the groupie and the photo proof getting evidence. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you listen to her music videos, she's a hoe. She is. I mean, people want to say things like, "Oh, but she was an angel," or "She was a good, she was a good girl," and no, she wasn't. She was Mary. Look at what she was doing. She wanted to be rich and famous, and she wanted bad boys. Right? That's what she wanted. What is a bad boy? A bad boy wants my destiny. That's really kind of, all these guys who think they're bad boys and stuff like that. Well, I'm the original bad boy. I'm good. That's mine. I get to do what I want. Who the fuck gets to tell me what to do? Nobody. Right? I choose what I want to do. If you don't like it, you can fuck off. Happiness hater. Yeah? So you see these people that are getting married? It says happiness hater. Okay? It's a really sad thing about the world and Aaliyah. I mean, if you look at Africa and you look, all those children that are starving, they can't grow crops. They haven't got any water. They're, people who die of children dying of malnutrition and all kinds of horrible things like that. Who's to blame for that? Who's to blame for that? Mary and the world, people who wanna worship false idols, and they forget about me, God, right? They don't, I can bless people, I can give people happiness, I can give them water to drink, I can give them food to eat, put clothes on their backs, that type of thing. If they accept me, if they love me, do you know what I mean? I can, but people who hate me and try to steal from me through witchcraft, it won't end well. It can't end well for them. So, yeah. So I have a lot of haters, okay? And Mary is one of them. Whoa, ho, ho. Oopsie. Got a card that flew out here. Confused, this way, that way. Yeah, I mean, Mary, she wants to create confusion. Should I keep that card or should I put it back? Alright, I'll put it back. I need to get some water. I'm really thirsty. Whoa. Oh, the same card came out again. How strange. Confused. So happiness hater. She wants to create confusion, right? She wants to, so Mary is, her ghost is stuck on the front of my body. And because, what she's trying to do is she's trying to pretend that she is me. By clinging on to my physical body, she's trying to absorb my light and my power, right? Because obviously, well, the butt is associated with the star, because it's the part of the body that looks like a star, I guess you could say. And also, it's associated with the idea of black hole, right? Because, you know what, in space you have black holes, right? And they have, it sucks everything into them, right? Well, there's all kinds of weird magic that she's trying to do to me, right? It kind of works both ways, right? Because, there's magic. There's a two-way magic thing happening between me and her. She wants my power. She's stuck on me. I carry her with me everywhere I go. Yeah. Demons want to pretend that she's in charge when that's not true. It's me. I'm in charge. She wants to create all this confusion. She's a happiness hater, so she wants to create confusion. She doesn't want things to go well for me. She's an angry, jealous woman. She's jealous of my destiny. She doesn't want me to be happy. She did wrong, and that's her fault, and she has to deal with the consequences of her actions. But she still, she doesn't want to accept that. She doesn't accept defeat. She wants to keep fighting me. Okay, shine. Okay, so here's the card. It says shine. Yeah, the crucifix. You see it there. Okay. Your light irritates their demons. This is the thing, right? My light irritates demons. That's why I, experience what people call evil eye. What happened was, when I was in my 20s, I started to learn certain truths about the world. I started to uncover things about, the Freemasons and what happens during wars. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that right now, but various things I figured out. Wow, there are things that there have been massive cover-ups that, and the fact that they've been covered up is a huge problem for the world, because the world is living a lie, right? If you're living a lie, then you know what I mean. Like, people try to bury truth in the past, and it becomes a problem. And if people don't learn from history, well, it becomes a huge issue. So I stumbled upon truth. I was reading the Bible, and people, I got this feeling like I had a lot of power at my fingertips. All sorts of crazy events happening in the world. It's like, wow. I couldn't figure out, is God giving me a sign, or what's going on? Like, I couldn't figure it out. But really what it was just the fact that I got a lot of power at my fingertips. That's what it is. I have a lot of power. It's not only at my fingertips, but you understand the expression. Okay. And that's, I was committed to learning about the truth, about everything. I wanted to know the truth because I was unhappy with my life, and I could see the world was doing some really crazy things, and things didn't really make sense to me. So I committed, I wanted to figure out what the truth was, and that's how I got here. There were a lot of steps involved. My light irritates demons. They don't like the truth. Okay, so it says here, always partying. Always partying. Well, when I was younger, I used to party a lot. From when I was a teenager until my mid-20s, I used to party a lot. I used to like to go clubbing. I used to go to house parties. I like DJing, that sort of thing. But then I just started to focus on work more, because I felt I had to. It says here, caught a case. So always partying, caught a case, sexual infection, sexual disease, rash, etc. Yeah, what's this talking about? Oh, maybe it's talking about Mary. Yeah, I think this is talking about Mary. Always partying. I don't have any STDs that I'm aware of. So it says, caught a case, sexual infection, sexual disease, right? Yeah, I mean, Mary. I mean, think about, HIV, for instance, right? What is HIV? Well, it's spelled H-I, V. And obviously V is the 22nd letter of the alphabet, right? And Aaliyah uses that number, 22. It's her, that's the number she uses. I mean, that's when she died. She was 22 years old. The Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters, okay? Into you. So, into you, good chemistry, great vibes, positive. I don't know how to read this exactly, but always partying, caught a case, into you. I mean, this is the thing. Mary, well, her body is stuck on me. I mean, I guess into you is kind of true in that sense. I don't know what else it could be talking about. I'm not sure what the cards are trying to tell me. Ooh. Okay, and then we got moving. Too busy winning. Yeah, I think, well, we've got hustling on the bottom, Rihanna, hustling. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Because, Rihanna, well, what's her name, right? Her full name is Robin Rihanna Fenty. So her middle name, and the thing is, because it's her middle name, the middle name is associated with the butt. And obviously people call her Ree. And obviously Mary or Marie is associated with the name Ree. Mary is associated with the name Ree. You've heard of the Mariana Trench, which is, is supposed to be one that, it's probably the deepest part of the ocean or something like that, right? Very cold, a lot of pressure down there, that type of thing, right? Why do they call it the Mariana Trench, I wonder? Anyways, yeah. I think these cards, obviously it's limited what it can tell, but, hopefully you get the point, right? Anyways, I need to get a drink quickly. I'll be back. Yeah, okay, I've had my drink. So yeah, it's really strange having ghosts on my body. It's, are they heavy? Not really. When I've tried running down a road, I feel like my legs are being pulled down to the ground. I do feel a little bit heavier. They sometimes make me lose my balance as well. I can get pushed side to side and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a very weird thing to try to explain. How did that? I mean, I remember when I first got touched by a ghost. It was on my knee, my left knee. And that's when the demons attacked me in 2019. And I was like, who are you? What are you doing? And I looked at my hand, and they created like an image. They made the blood form in my skin, and it formed like a scary face. And I had like I had a coffee mug that I'd been drinking coffee and tea out of, and I hadn't washed it in between, so it had like, you know, coffee and tea stains in it, and it created like all sorts of crazy images in it and stuff. You know, I saw even what looked like an eye, like a, you know, like a one eye symbol in the bottom of my coffee mug as well. I mean, I took pictures of them. This was years ago. Do I even have those? I don't know if I still have those pictures or not. But I even showed it to my neighbour, and he was, when I lived back in Brighton, I showed it to my neighbour. I was like, look at this. And he looked at me like I was totally crazy. And I was just like, okay then, well, yeah. People, you know, I tried my best to explain to people what was happening to me, but no one wanted to know. You know, they just assumed I was totally insane. Yeah. My power speaks for itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I do what I do. If people can't tell what I'm capable of, then if they can't see my power, which I display it, you know what I mean? I show it on Facebook. I show it through my videos. The world reflects me. The world wants to try to steal my power all the time. It's always trying to do that. It won't stop talking about me. And it keeps trying to impersonate me. You know, I mentioned this in a previous video, but that's the thing. I am person 8. You know what I mean? I eat food. Yeah, I consume food. So I am person 8. You know what I mean? Language has been used to trap me. You know, that's the thing, right? You know the story of the Tower of Babel. You know, God destroyed the tower. It was something like that, and you know, it was there was the confusion of the languages. Well, that's the thing. That's why language is the way that, you know what I mean. Like, it's obviously, you know, we've gone from languages that were back then, which were, you know, like Phoenician or Hebrew or whatever, and Greek, you know, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, English. You know, and obviously there's all the other European languages and languages all around the world. How many languages do I speak? I mean, I used to learn French and Spanish when I was at school. I was probably better at Spanish than I was at French. Oh, I used to learn Latin as well, but I gave that up when I was 14, I think, or 15. Yeah, I got bored of Latin. I was quite good at Latin before I went to boarding school, and then I felt like I was not that great at it when I was surrounded by a bunch of nerds. Well, a lot. There was some very smart boys I was at school with, right? You know, they were very book smart. Yeah. You know, I went from a prep school in London called Homefield to Charterhouse, which is, well, it's one of the most famous boarding schools in the country. It's probably, you know, there's Eton, and then Charterhouse is usually yeah. I mean, Charterhouse and Eton. I mean, the headmaster at the school when I was there, he was the ex-reverend from Eton, and when I was at that school, Prince Harry was there playing cricket he was there playing cricket at my school. That's the type of school I went to. It was I mean, back then I think it was about £20,000 a year, and that was back at the beginning. You know, that was 2001. Now I think it's more like 40,000 a year. Yeah, it's like, it's super expensive. Yeah. The thing is that when I was that age, when I was living in London before I went to boarding school, I was living with my mum, her girlfriend, and my grandparents, and our dogs. We had dogs, little white fluffy dogs called Bijons. And my mum wanted to move to Brighton with her girlfriend, and so my grandparents came to Bristol to stay with my aunt and uncle instead. And I went with my mum and her girlfriend. I went with my mum and her girlfriend to Brighton, but the first 3 years I spent at boarding school. And that's when my mum started doing drugs and partying a lot, and everything went crazy. You know, that was right before the 2008 crash. My mum lost her house. I think it was probably about 2006. 2000, yeah. And I moved into a council flat, and my mum declared bankruptcy back then, and then probably 4 or 5 years later she got another job in London, and she managed to acquire this house, and the inheritance got left to me, right? So there was a cash payout because of her death. I guess what was it? I'm trying to think. Was it life insurance? I guess it was. Was it life insurance? I'm trying to think what it was now. It was. I think it was like pension and life insurance. I've totally forgotten. I'd have to dig through the paperwork, but basically I was given £450,000, and I invested 200,000, and that made quite a lot of money. So I'm doing okay. I don't need to go get a job right now. You know what I mean? And I don't. And the thing is, this is the thing. I'm God. Think about it. I'm God. Why do I want to go work for somebody else? Why would I want to have an employer who can tell you, Grant, you got to do this. Grant, you got to do that? I'm God. That's not going to be. You know what I mean? If I have a boss, why would God want to have a boss of him? It's not, in terms of magic, it's a terrible idea, isn't it? If I'm giving someone authority over me, that's not going to work very well in my favor, is it? Because all the demons will be like, ha ha ha, look at God there, he's been told what to do by someone else. So, this all had to happen. My mum had to die of cancer. I had to get this money. I had to be here. This is how it had to happen. I tried to love her. After all the abuse she caused me, all the pain and misery and suffering, I still, even when she was dying, I was at her bedside. I was here for her. And I remember the day she died. She went to hospice and she died, and she went in there. She had a hospital bed in the back of the house. Actually, it was in the conservatory, and she was having trouble breathing, and they had to take her away. She went to the hospice and she died overnight. And when she said goodbye to me, she was like, I'm not good at goodbyes. She basically just gave me a quick kiss and a hug, and that was it. She was like, go. I was like, okay. I went. And then when I came back, she was dead. The next day she was dead. And I remember being there with my aunt and uncle and my mum's ex-girlfriend, Priscilla. This is a different girlfriend than the other girlfriend I talked about from Brighton. But, they were all crying. I wasn't crying. I went in, I saw my mum, and I sat next to her for a little while, just to say goodbye. And that was it. Didn't cry. I told her who I was. I told her what I knew at the time, and she didn't believe me. You know, I try my best. I try my best with her. The thing is she's my enemy. She is. Her ashes that were in the box, she was cremated, and I had her ashes in the house, and I felt like I was getting attacked by her ghost for a while. So what happened was there's certain things of hers, like her artwork. I destroyed all that stuff. The day I destroyed all her paintings on the walls, I took them down and smashed them, ripped them apart. That was the day Queen Elizabeth II died. There was a thunderstorm that day as well. And I was yeah, and my mum's ashes, I threw them in the bin. I literally put them out with the trash. I still got the box, but the actual ashes, I emptied them into a black bin liner, and they went out with the trash. And it was a good decision because I felt better. I felt like, that's the thing. Keeping her ashes in the house, it wasn't doing me any favors, right? Or at least that's how I felt. So at the time, I just felt like I had to get rid of them. Yeah. Anyway. It's funny because people from my biological family, they were like, oh, so when are we gonna scatter your mum's ashes? And I'm like, I threw them in the bin. I even posted it on Facebook, and I even said about it on Facebook. I've even said, I've mentioned it so many times. Yeah, I mean, yeah. My biological family, my aunt Christine, I mean, she just doesn't like listening to me. She doesn't, I tell her things, it goes in one ear and out the other, and then the next day we're still having, like she keeps wanting to have the same conversation again and again and again and again, like I never ever said anything to her. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I'm like, I'm God, by the way. I threw my mum's ashes in the bin. And she's, like, she doesn't take anything I say seriously. She acts like she didn't hear me. That's what she does. She just acts like she never heard anything I ever said. And that's what happened when I was growing up, because my mum was abusing me. She had with all the drugs problems and stuff like that, she was horrible to deal with. And that's the thing, right? Because she wanted to keep me poor, she wanted to keep me vulnerable, and she wanted to control and manipulate me with drugs. And she was just trying to attack me again and again and again and again and again. And obviously I told my family about it, and I told my biological family about it, Christine, right? I told them. What did they do? How do they deal with that? Well, they treated me like I was the bad guy. I was the bad one. Like I was the one doing wrong, and that my mum couldn't do anything wrong. My mum was perfect. She was the perfect mother, and I was the bad kid. That's how I got treated. So I got outcast by my family. I got viewed. Everyone was viewing me like I was, a bad son, and that my mum had done the best she could for me. And the world took her side against me. My mum was trying to control. That's the thing, right? The world treated her like she was God. Right? The world was treating my mum Fiona as if she was God and I was her terrible son who didn't deserve to live. That's how that's the best way I can explain it. Okay? So when I say, I'm very lucky to be alive. Do you know what I mean? I'm lucky that I'm still here, to be quite honest. The fact that I made it this far is, it's amazing, really. So, yeah. Give me a sec. Hold on. So, I've got a cool deck here, actually. I thought I might just show it to you. It's an Hermes deck. Hermes or Hermes. The designer deck. Designer brand. It's really expensive. I paid, I think it was 125 quid for this. I bought it from their website, but they don't sell it on the website anymore. You can only buy them in Hermes stores. So it's just the tarot. It's the tarot game deck. Yeah, it's quite a nice deck to use. And see what do we want? Yeah, just doing a reading with it. Let's see what comes. Whoa. Oh, hang on. That's too many cards. Hang on. Yeah, that's too many cards. Okay, so you got the Three of Pentacles, or Three of Diamonds. The Tower, 16, the Tower. So Three of Pentacles, the Tower. Yeah. Knight of Cups, or Cavalier. Yeah, it's the Knight of Hearts or Knight of Cups. Ten of Swords or Ten of Spades. I mean, this is the thing, right? Because think about it, right? In playing cards, the club is associated with wands, and that's the thing, right? I used to go clubbing a lot when I was younger. Ooh. I mean, I used to go to a club called Audio. Interesting name, huh? Three of Cups or Three of Hearts. Page of Swords or Page of Spades. Eight of Wands, Eight of Clubs. Whoa. I used to do 78 card tarot readings with these because they're really useful, because if you could see, right, because you don't really need that much, you know what I mean, like you just put the cards. I can put together the cards like that. I can just overlay them on top of each other, because you only need like that part of the card to see. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got a really brown finger from smoking. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, I need to scrub a bit more, I think. How much do I smoke a day? Probably about 20. Yeah, it's probably about 20 a day. Yeah. I think it's the rollies as well, actually, because the thing is I use blue papers. If I use green papers, I don't get the stains on my fingers. Yeah, I find like if I use the green papers, but I don't like them. I like the blue papers. Anyways, whatever. So what's this saying? Three of Pentacles, the Tower. Knight of Cups, Ten of Swords, Three of Cups, Page of Swords, Eight of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Knight of Wands, Two of Swords, Two of Cups, Seven of Cups. Whoa, that's too many. Should I take those? Okay, got the Strength, Judgment, Three of Wands, Two of Pentacles. So let me have a look at that. What's that all about? And that's the other thing, right? Because obviously these are called, they're game cards. So it's called Jeu de Tarot. Jeu de Tarot, which is, I think it's spelled Jeude Tarot. Okay, Game of Tarot. It's something like that. French. When I was 19 years old, I had a girlfriend called Jodie. Jodie Orr. Yeah. Anyways, she was a dental nurse. I was with her for like a month. It wasn't that long. Anyways, Jodie. Yeah. So Three of Pentacles, the Tower, Knight of Cups, Ten of Swords, Three of Cups, Page of Swords, Eight of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Knight of Wands, Two of Swords, Two of Cups, Seven of Cups, Strength, Judgment, Three of Wands, Two of Pentacles. So what is this? Okay, so, you know, the Three of Pentacles, you know what that is, right? So someone's Three of Pentacles, you know, there's this, you know, someone's group situation has, you know, it's the tower has hit, okay? Knight of Cups, you know, what's a Knight of Cups? Well, you know, people who are going to look for sex, you know, people who are having sex. Ten of Swords, you know, betrayal, you know, there's a sort of a death, betrayal, you know, you could say the betrayer's dead, sort of thing, right? I suppose, you know, like, yeah, they've been, you know, they've been hit with the truth, right? The truth has hit them hard. Three of Cups, you know, it's a celebration. Page of Swords, you know, obviously my Facebook page is a Page of Swords. My YouTube page is a Page of Swords. Eight of Wands, moving quickly to Eight of Pentacles, making, putting things together. Page of Cups, Knight of Wands. So this is the thing, I'm getting my justice. So the Page of Cups, you know, they're gonna get screwed, basically. You know, those people are Two of Swords, right? A Two of Swords person, you know, you could look at the Two of Swords as someone who's blocking, you know, there's a stalemate, there's someone who's blocking, someone who's blind to the truth, or whatever, you know. People trying to get in the way, right? Those people who've been trying to get in the way are gonna get screwed. Two of Cups, right? Two of Cups, Seven of Cups. What is the Seven of Cups? So, you know, the Seven of Cups, it depicts the cups in the clouds. You know, obviously, people say Seven of Cups is associated with Scorpio, bloody, bloody, blur. But the Seven of Cups is, you know, it's confusion. Well, people say, you know, it's confusion, fantasy, choices. It's also, it's sexual fantasy as well. It's a sexual fantasy card. You know, it's, you know, there's all these cups. But, you know, the Seven of Cups, it represents sexual it's not only fantasy that it you know, because it, you know, one of the key words that's used for the Seven of Cups is fantasy, daydreaming, but sexual fantasy is part of fantasy. You have to understand that, right? And then there's the Strength card. Okay, so, you know, that is, well, it's associated with strength. It's associated. It's strength. It's the woman with the lion. It's also, it's lust. It's sex, basically. Judgment. You know, the Judgment card. I mean, obviously these are different pictures, but, you know, it's still the same. It's the number Judgment, and that's the thing, right? You know, it's dead people waking from their graves. You know, they're being, you know, the trumpet is being blown, right? Judgment. Okay, Three of Wands. Two of Pentacles. So, you know, this is talking about, you know, me having sex with multiple women. Yeah, Three of Wands, Two of Pentacles. Okay. You know, it's an interesting word, isn't it? Hermes. 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 You know, people think well, that's the thing, I have a messy house, right? You know, I'm the Messiah. Do you get it? It's all word magic. You know, I don't like having a messy house. I really don't. I don't want to live in a messy house. I like a clean house. But I guess there's going to be a point, you know, I'm going to have to clean my house, and I guess I'll have a few cleaners around, I suppose, at some point. Right? And, you know, hopefully I'll get to live in a better house as well. You know, hopefully at some point I'll get to move into a mansion. But obviously, you know, steps have to be taken to get there. So, anyway, so after the Two of Pentacles, we've got the Five of Pentacles. So, you know, the Five of Pentacles is being left out in the cold, financial hardship. It's people outside of the church. And this is basically what it is, right? You know, like the Page of Cups, the Two of Swords, you know, people who are trying to block my destiny. They're these people who are outside of the body of Christ, right? These are people who are outside of my church. You know, they're Five of Pentacles people. So, you know, basically what I'm going to be doing is be having sex with naughty woman, basically. Women who owe me big time. Yeah? And that might involve kicking them out, you know, after I'm done with them, I show them the door and say, off you go then. Do you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, perhaps I'll have a woman in my house, or multiple women in my house, but, you know, then there'll be women who come in and go. You know, she come round for the night, and then off she goes the next, or afterwards, or whatever, I don't know, but, you know, something like that, right? Nine of Cups. You know, the Nine of Cups is, you know, is someone who's happy, but they're on their own, right? So, and then we got the Three of Swords, and then the Fool, right? So the Fool's unhappy, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know, what's more important, life or death? You know, like, at the end of the day, you know, there are women that have mistreated me. You understand? Mistreated me, yeah. They've mistreated me. They've made a mistake. and I'm giving them an opportunity to save their lives. Yeah, I'm giving them an opportunity to keep living, basically. I'm God, so if they give me a favor, you know what I mean? Like, if they're going to do me the favor of, you know what, then, you know, that improves their situation. That's going to, you know, that means that, you know, they've, you know, it's a form of payment. Yeah, I think it's a form of payment for, you know, all the bad stuff they've done. So, yeah. I mean, people just need to, you know, people need to understand that, you know, I mean, people, you know, should what do people really deserve? You know, you need to understand that. What do people really deserve? You know, you know, these women, they don't really deserve this opportunity, but, you know, there is the opportunity because, you know, I benefit from it and she benefits from it as well. You know, this is how it was supposed to go, basically, right? So, yeah, yeah, that's how it is. So, like, you know, that's the thing, right? Because, you know, you know, it's a way of making amends. And then obviously when that woman leaves, you know, she needs to stay single. I mean, I don't know. Does that mean she can still get married? She can still get married. She can still get married to another guy. So that's the thing. I mean, obviously, you know, she's, you know, yeah. So something like that, right? I mean, yeah, something like that. It's complicated, but, you know, at the end of the day, the idea is that I heal, I feel better, and, you know, I'll feel better, and everyone's going to be going crazy. They'll be like, wow, this guy, he's having sex with all these women, all these hot women, like, lucky guy. You know, people are going to be talking about me, and guys are going to be jealous of me. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'll be in demand. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the idea of it. And, you know, the fame and the power and all that stuff, it's all part of it, right? The fame, the money, the fortune, the power, taking the world, you know what I mean? Like, getting rid of people that shouldn't be where they are. Yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle, is what it is, right? Trying to fix the world. So, and this is how it has to be done. So, yeah. Shocking, isn't it? But it is what it is. So, but that's the thing, you know, if you're the first woman to come to me, do you know what I mean? If you're the first woman to jump ship, if you know what I mean, you know, obviously you have a special place for you. There'll be a special place for you. So, So yeah. What were the first cards that came out? It was the Devil, the Empress, Death. So yeah, it's, you know what I mean? Transform, you know, like, do the right thing. Okay, so what am I doing now then? I'll do a prism reading. Okay. See if I can get a bit more light here. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Success. Success. Now why would that? Yeah. Okay. Success. Frustration. So I mean, obviously, you know, you see, you know, obviously it's like it's a square peg trying to get, you know, it's, the idea is the square peg is trying to go in the round hole, right? It's like, it's not supposed to go in there. It's not supposed to go in there. Hopefully you understand what this is trying to say, right? You know, I'm not totally crazy what I've been telling you. Growth. Well, that's the thing, right? What does a plant grow out of, right? You know what I mean? Like, the seed goes in the soil, and then the plant grows, right? Growth. Love. You know, you see, I don't know, have you ever seen the, what is it called? There's that tarot deck. It's called the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. I don't use it very often. I've got I've got a couple of decks of that. I don't use it very often, but the Sun card on that deck, the Wild Unknown deck, if you look at the Sun card, you notice it's got all those lines. You see the lines? You know what does it look like? What it looks like a sphincter, doesn't it? It looks like a butt hole. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's preparation to do beforehand. I mean, obviously, like, you don't just go. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Douche, enema, that type of thing. Yeah, healthy diet, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's all part of it. Faith. Gotta have faith. Anxiety. Faith, anxiety. Stop. So, you know, don't be anxious, right? You know what I mean? Like, I know what this is all about, right? You know, it's not. It's shocking, isn't it? It is shocking. But think about it, right? The word king is in the word shocking. Just like king is in the word smoking, right? I'm king. I'm the king of kings, the lord of lords. I'm God. I am shocking. But you know, you think about it, right? You know, how many people become famous through doing shocking things? Do you know what I mean? You think about how many people go viral on YouTube or whatever, or TikTok or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people are going to be shocked. Yeah, people are going to be shocked at what I'm doing. But, you know, these cards, you know, have faith, right? You don't need to be anxious. You don't need to worry that, you know, I am who I say I am. I am who I say I am, right? You don't need to worry about that. Yeah, I've got some naughty plans, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I do. I mean, the thing is, it's a magic battle because, you know, it's called the second coming of Jesus Christ. And because there are so many men who are participating in sodomy, well, that's the thing. They're pretending that they are the second coming. You see, it's a magic battle. You see, if I'm doing that, if I'm the sodomizer, well, it breaks their spells, right? Their spells stop working. So it means that I win. Yeah? Do you understand? It's a step-by-step process. You know, it's the thing I got to do. I mean, the alternative is it doesn't happen and the world gets totally wrecked. You know, that means a lot of people, yeah, a lot of terrible things will happen if I don't get what I need, what I want. So it's like that. That's just how it is. So, you know, it's saying faith, anxiety, stop. Look, one more time, okay? Success, frustration, so, you know, obviously in the wrong hole. Growth, yeah, you know, it's the plant, the flower, the seed in the soil. Love, you know, it's something, it makes me happy, right? It's something that makes me happy. Puts a smile on my face. Okay? Faith. Anxiety. Stop. The fact is, you know, a lot of women like it. They enjoy it, right? You know, for them, it's eternal. And obviously, I like to do it, right? You know, I want to have fun. I want to be happy. That's, you know, you understand? So, I'll do another reading from this deck. Yeah, go on now. Should I take those two? Okay, so we got trust, determination. So I don't know if you can see that. Ooh. Oh, don't. Hang on. Let me get this. Come on. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Can you see? Oh. Okay, look. Can you read that? It's really hard to read, but it says determination. Okay? So trust, determination, ideation, love. Okay? Could it be any clearer? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you the truth. Oh, I'm telling you the truth. Passion. Yeah? I mean, you know there's that film, for instance, The Passion of Christ, or The Passion of the Christ. I think it's The Passion of Christ, okay? So, what's my passion? Well, look at the word, right? P-A-S-I-O-N. P-A-S-I-O-N. Right? Passion. Do you know what I mean? It's just what I want, right? It's what I want. I want to be happy. It's my passion. Death. Well, this is the thing, right? Let me read to you from... Shall I read it? Okay. So, Revelation chapter 11. I'll start... So, chapter 11 is about the two witnesses. Shall I read all of it? From verse 1. Okay. So, Revelation chapter 11, verse 1, starting from verse 1. I was given a reed like a measuring rod and was told, go and measure the temple of God and the altar with its worshippers, but exclude the outer courts. Do not measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles. They will trample on the holy city for 42 months, and I will appoint my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. They are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, and they stand before the Lord of the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes from their mouths and devours their enemies. This is how anyone who wants to harm them must die. They have power to shut up the heavens so that it will not rain during the time they are prophesying, and they have power to turn the waters into blood, and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they want. Okay. Like I said, Moses, Archangel Michael, is with me. Okay? He's got my back. Okay? Obviously, if you're aware of the plagues of Egypt that happened when Moses said, Moses was sent by me to set the Israelites free from slavery with the Egypt, and that's what happened, the plagues of Egypt. Okay, so carrying on from verse 7, it says here, now when they have finished their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the public square of the great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. So obviously Sodom is associated with sodomy, and Egypt is associated with bondage. For 3.5 days, some from every people, tribe, language, and nation will gaze on their bodies and refuse them burial. The inhabitants of the earth will gloat over them and will celebrate by sending each other gifts. because these two prophets had tormented those who live on the earth. But after the 3.5 days, the breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, while their enemies looked on. At that very hour there was a severe earthquake, and 1/10 of the city collapsed. 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake, and the survivors were terrified, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe has passed, the third woe is coming soon. Shall I read the next bit? Okay. So it says here, the seventh angel sounded his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven, which said, "The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and his Messiah, and of his Messiah, and he will reign forever and ever." And the 24 elders who were seated on their thrones before God fell on their faces and worshipped God, saying, "We give thanks to you, Lord God Almighty, the one who is and who was, because you have taken your great power and have begun to reign. The nations were angry, and your wrath has come. The time has come for judging the dead, and for rewarding your servants the prophets, and your people who revere your name, both great and small, and for destroying those who destroy the earth." Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and within his temple was seen the ark of his covenant, and there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and a severe hailstorm. So, you have to understand that stories in the Bible, they're mad. A story. Stories like that. They're magic stories. That it's a magic story. It's you have, the expression "read between the lines." Once you understand how language is magic and how it can apply, see the word, the scriptures. It affects how the world behaves, because the world tries to absorb power through these stories. That's the thing. People try to absorb their power through those words because it's so connected to me. I'm God, right? And the Holy Bible it's the book that I've given to people, isn't it? And so, people call it the Word of God. They call it the infallible Word of God, or, it gets very complicated, I know, but it's, think about it. Anyway. So, it says here, what did it say? It said here, trust, determination, ideation, love, passion, death. Well, I was Jesus. I rose from the dead. I'm a Scorpio. I'm associated with the death card. And, well, the thing is, sodomy is, well, that's what it is. It's basically, it's a form of death, right? It's a form of death, right? Do you understand? It's the sting in the tail, scorpion. I mean, think about it, right? Because, a woman, she has 2 holes, right? One is for life, and the other one, well, it's not really for that, is it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like 2 different paths, right? Do you understand? One creates babies, one's for babies, and the other one is not, right? So, it's, in a sense, yes, it is death, because if everyone did that, well, there'd be no, you know what I mean? Like, no one would have children, if you know what I mean. Yeah, think about it from that perspective. But I mean, if you know, I mean, I told you about the crucifixion of Jesus. You know, it was, you know, it talks about Sodom and Egypt. You know, it's, you know, it's all connected to what I'm telling you right now. You know, I'm telling you what my passion is, right? It's what I want. So, yeah. Should I do another reading? Prison? Go on then. I'll do one last reading with this. Okay. Happiness. Happiness. Do we need another card? Do we need another card? Not really, but balance. So happiness, balance. Okay, so, you know, I was Jesus. You know, I was I guess you would say, the goody two shoes, right? Mr. Perfect. And now, well, you know, it's balanced. You know, I get to be the bad boy if I want to be. Right? You know, I can be as bad as, you know, I get to be as bad as I like, basically. Do you understand? It's a balance thing, right? Because, I mean, that's the, if you think about it, you know, a lot of people didn't accept Jesus. They thought, oh, well, Jesus, you know, he was perfect, he didn't sin. And, you know, most people don't, you know, most people are sinners. They don't want, you know, well, all people are sinners, really, to varying degrees, but, you know, some are worse than others, if you know what I'm saying. But the fact is that, you know, there are a lot of people who will, you know, this is sort of, you know, it's stage 2. Yeah, it's basically, it's stage 2, right? So, you know, people who didn't accept me when I was Jesus Christ, they're gonna have this new version of me, which is different, and obviously they get the opportunity to worship me, right? They're gonna have the opportunity to love me, to worship me, and so, you know, that this is the next stage of salvation, basically. Obviously, it's a different, you know, thing now. Okay, you know, it means that, you know, the people who loved me when I was Jesus are, you know, they will be rewarded for their faith, obviously, right? The people who, you know, this is stage 2, so this is, you know, people, it's, you know, people aren't going to get the same rewards, obviously. It's going to be different, right? But it gives people another chance at, you know, it saves people from going to hell, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? Oh, it's been a long video, hasn't it? I mean, you think about, you know, I mean, how many famous celebrities, you know, you think how many guys who are, you know, like rappers or whatever, you know, what do they rap about? Having sex with lots of hoes. And what happens? They get worshipped, right? They're worshipped for being degenerate, basically. Well, but the thing is what they're really doing is they're pretending that they're me. They're pretending that they're me and they're living out my destiny. That's basically what they're doing. Yeah. So hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. I mean, look. Even look. What? How do you rap music? Do you know how problematic that word rap is? You know why, right? I mean, there's a word that's very, very similar to the word rap. Yeah, very, very similar. You know, it's sort of, well, you know, the word grape, right? You know, how is wine made? Grape. Grapes, right? You make wine with grapes. You know, what does it mean to wine? Right? You see where this is going? Anyways, passion. Determination. It's all about, you know, I want to live out my fantasy. Do you know what I mean? Anyways. Anyway, give me a minute. So yeah, I said to get another Red Bull. Yeah, you know why? Like, I've struggled with energy. I mean, think about it, right? The Holy Bible. I mean, look at it, right? The two bulls, and there's that sun disc, right? It represents the sun. And obviously, what do? You read a book. You read the Bible. You're supposed to read it, right? Read and read. Do you understand how those are connected? You know, why do you think, you know, there's, when you see celebrities and they dress all in red, you know, that type of thing. There's a reason why they do that. You know, a lot of Bibles will have the words of Jesus in red instead of black. I mean, that's the thing, you know, there's, that's the thing as well, you know, the paper is white, yeah? Most Bible paper is white, and the ink is usually black or red. Yeah. You know, it's easy for people to say Jesus was a black man. Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the word, it's written in black ink. Yeah, sure, it is, yeah. Yep. And that's it, you know, obviously, there's so much I could talk about. There is so much. I could talk forever. Anyways. So, I mean, the cards explain it. You know, the cards confirm what I say. They do. Let me do one more tarot reading and then that'll be it. Then I'm going to go. Okay, quick tarot reading. Okay. Okay. Okay, Four of Pentacles. So, you know, the Four of Pentacles, what is the Four of Pentacles? Obviously, 4 is associated with the Emperor. You know, this is someone who's holding on to their possessions, right? So, you know, that's what I'm meant to do. I'm God. I'm the emperor. You know, now is the time for me to gather my possessions, right? Money, wealth, property, that kind of stuff, right? And woman as well, okay? That's that sort of thing, okay? But yeah. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions about this card. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, what story wants to come out here? What are we talking about? Okay, so 4 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups. Four of Pentacles, 8 of Cups. Hang on, let me just shuffle. Okay, ooh. The Lovers card. Okay? So, you know, 4 of Pentacles, holding on to possessions. 8 of Cups, the Lovers. So, you know, this is disappointment. But, you know, obviously you don't eat water, do you? I mean, I suppose you could eat ice, but, you know, I mean, it's not really, it's not food, is it? It's a tricky card to understand, this one. Because the 8 of Cups is like, well, you know, in some sense, it's not really water. Because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you don't eat water. So, you know, this is, you know, is it real water? It's disappointment. You know, it's, the world is, you know, you know, it lacks, you know, when, you know, this is lacking water, sort of thing, right? So, you know, people who have wronged me, treated me like nothing, I'm worthless, I don't deserve to exist. You know, those are people who are 8 of Cups. You know, these are Page of Cups, 8 of Cups. People who treated me like I don't deserve to breathe oxygen. Lovers, okay? So the Lovers card. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I've got to punish, right? I've got to punish somehow in one way or another. Do you know what I mean? What would you prefer? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, I've got to punish in one way or another. Okay? So, and obviously, you know, I try to understand it from that perspective. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I want to feel good. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'm giving certain people a chance, right, to change direction. Okay? Six of Swords. So moving on to calmer waters. 10 of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. I mean, this is the thing, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you want to work for me, if you know what I'm saying, you know, if you want to be in service to me, you know, the more you're in service to me, the more I can reward you. Do you know what I mean? What you put in is what you get out of it, basically. So, you know, the opportunity is available. And that's how it's going to go. So, yeah. Queen of Wands. So I'm going to take those. Page of Swords. Three of Wands. The Hierophant. Ace of Wands. Ten of Swords. So, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, you know, the world has betrayed me, right? And, you know, they've backstabbed me, but, you know, I mean, you know, this is sort of backstabbing, betrayal, and, you know, I get to return the favor to a lot of people, I suppose, don't I? To people who talk badly about me, mistreated me, well, you know, I get to Ten of Swords them, you know, I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, doing this, you know, I'm not talking about that, do you know what I mean, but potential, you know what I mean, but obviously it's, you know, it's payback time, do you know what I'm saying? It's payback time. And then we got the King of Swords. That's me, by the way. Two of Wands. Page of Cups. Nine of Wands. The Chariot. So that's the bed. Ace of Cups. So, you know, that's like, well, it's love, it's sex, it's emotions, it's, you know, it's the, you see the dove there, you know, there's the cup, the Ace of Cups with the water coming out of it. It's, you know, it also means, you know, like enema, douching. We've got the Hermit. So Ace of Cups, the Hermit, the Magician. Yeah. Eight of Wands. So this is another thing, right? Obviously, 8, like I said, you know, the number 8 is, you know, it's, well, it's about food, isn't it? And the Wands, and you know, these are sticks flying through the sky. Do you know what I mean? Moving quickly. 8 of Wands. It's a weird card, isn't it? Moving fast. Well, that's the thing, right? Because that's what it is, right? The Magician moving fast. Well, if you're fasting, you're not eating food. You're sort of clearing your system out, right? So moving fast, 8 of Wands. Do you see how this is all connected to sodomy, basically? I mean, obviously you can interpret it in different ways, but you know, people, they miss that. They don't see that. I'm just explaining what you don't really know. And we've got the Page of Wands. So the Magician, 8 of Wands, Page of Wands, right? So, you know, I'm a Hermit. I'm a Virgo moon for a start. The Magician, 8 of Wands, Page of Wands, right? So, yeah, it's basically, you know, it's just, yeah, I mean, what's a Page of Wands? You know, it could be my Facebook page, maybe, or, you know, this is a person, a woman, yeah, you know, I want her to fast, yeah, I want her to prepare herself. Okay, I mean, if you know the the parable of the 10 virgins. Okay, so it talks about the oil in the lamps, right? And how the woman, they had to be, they were told to buy oil for their lamps. Okay, and in that case, what it's really talking about is talking about lubrication. Yeah, it's talking about being prepared, right? Being ready. Yeah, I don't want women to come around in my house and they ain't ready for what they need to do. Yeah, they need to get ready before they turn up on my door. You understand? So they're ready to go. And then they can go. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gotta have oil in their lamps. You get it? Okay, I think I've said enough. Shall I leave it there? That do? Or should I do another reading? Should I start a new one? Okay, alright, one more reading, and that's it. I've gotta go. Whoa. 8 of Pentacles. Should I take those as well? Okay, I'll take those. 5 of Wands. The World. 2 of Swords. 3 of Pentacles. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay, King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So, what's that saying? 8 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, the World, 2 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune. So, the thing is the world, it likes to fight me with magic. The idea is to stop that happening, okay? I don't want to keep battling the world and all the witchcraft and magic that they're doing, okay? I mean, look at the cards, okay? Witchcraft, magic. 5 of Wands is, it's a magic battle. It's arguing, it's competition, it's, hey, I'm number one. It's like, no, I'm number one. All that kind of stuff. Like, it's my destiny. You can't steal my destiny. People argue. People are constantly putting out YouTube videos talking about, it's all about destiny swapping, stealing, all that kind of stuff. Obviously I want that to stop. Okay, so the 8 of Pentacles, the 5 of Wands, the World card, yeah. This is basically, if you look at this, I mean, it's called the World card, but it's kind of like the throne. It's my butt. It's my throne. You see the 4 living creatures around in the corners of the card. Yeah, there's the one, the ox, the lion, the one that's got the face like a man, and the eagle. The world, well, that's the thing, the woman, she's like the earth, she's the soil that's in the ring, right? It's just talking about my butt. That's all it is, right? It's in the sky. If you notice, it's in the sky. It ain't on the ground, is it? Do you see the ground anywhere in this card? You don't. It depicts the sky and the clouds. The sky and the clouds, that's associated with heaven, right? Why do you think I smoke so much, right? Clouds. It's all magic. Anyways, so the World card, and then we got the 2 of Swords. So, this is the World, 2 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. I need more cards. Oh, my back. Oh. And then we got the Two of Cups. Queen of Swords. Just take those. Okay. Four of Wands. King of Wands. Three of Swords. Justice. Okay. What is this saying? Okay, I think I know what this is saying. So this is saying Eight of Pentacles, Five of Wands, the world. So, because obviously the world, it also means end of a cycle. So, you know, the idea is, you know, I want to stop people doing all this magic, sorcery stuff, okay? You know, I want that to stop. I want the, you know, I want people to work together. You know, the Two of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, because I mean, well, there's the Wheel of Fortune, the Two of Cups, Queen of Swords, Four of Wands, King of Wands, Three of Swords, Justice. Yeah, I don't know, this is quite a hard reading to figure out, actually, but Eight of Pentacles, Five of Wands, the World, Two of Swords, Three of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, Two of Cups, Queen of Swords, Four of Wands, King of Wands, Three of Swords, Justice. So this is the thing, I suppose, yeah, I mean, the people who keep putting out all these videos and stuff, right? People who are doing sorcery, the Two of Swords people, the people who keep trying to block me and get in my way, yeah, they work together to create their own destiny, their own fate. The Wheel of Fortune, Two of Cups, the Queen of Swords, right? And the Four of Wands, King of Wands, Three of Swords, Justice. So I could read this in quite a number of ways, really, but, you know, the fact is that, you know, all these tarot readers on YouTube, they're trying to create a different destiny, right? They're trying to destiny swap. They're trying to take my destiny and they want to take it for themselves, right? And obviously I want that to stop. I want, do you know what I mean? Like, I want it, you know, people keep trying to ruin my life. People keep trying to steal my destiny, and I don't want them to do that. I want them to work to ensure I get what I deserve. Justice, okay? Let me do another reading, because that reading didn't come out very well, I don't think. So, the Magician. Oh. The Magician. Okay, got two cards again. Alright, so Three of Wands, the High Priestess. Right, so I've got another 2 cards again. 3 of Cups, Knight of Cups, I've got 2 cards again. 9 of Swords, Justice. Okay, what the heck? Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, so the Magician, 3 of Wands. So setting out to do something, or it's, you know, it's basically sodomy. The High Priestess. Yeah. Notice how it says BJ there? Yeah. How convenient. 3 of Cups, you know, celebration, party. Knight of Cups, you know, riding the horse sort of thing. Water's involved. 9 of Swords, you know, it's lying in bed. I mean, the 9 of Swords card, you know, it's I guess you could say it's kind of been like, it's lying in bed, feeling tormented kind of thing, right? Justice. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You know, I mean, if you heard of, yeah, humiliation kink. Yeah, if you ever heard of humiliation kink, that should explain it. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can explain what that's saying. Okay, about the 9 of Swords and the Justice, you know, in the bed and the torment. Well, it's humiliation kink. Okay, is basically what it is. I'm the authority figure. I'm in charge. Okay, I get what I want. Basically, yeah, that's what it is. I get what I want. I'm in charge. Okay. So I'll leave it there because this video has been really long. Shall I? Yeah. Okay.